Hello, namaskar, namaskara, namaskara, namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. This is the second class of the important bills that have been passed during the monsoon session of the 17th Lok Sabha. I have already covered many bills in the class 1. You can watch that, thereafter watch this class, or you can do otherwise. Watch this class first and move back to the first class. Let's talk about the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Bill of 2023, which wants to expand the scope of aquaculture, remove regulatory gaps. The gaps shouldn't become too large that it becomes a hassle to do aquaculture. Reduce compliance burden without diluting the environment protection rules in the coastal areas. It will remove the provision of imprisonment for a period up to 3 years. Also, it imposes only a penalty in line with the principle of decriminalizing civil transgressions. That means civil transgressions, if they take place, they will be decriminalized. It seeks to fine-tune the operational procedures and the Coastal Aquaculture Authority to make it more responsive to the needs of the stakeholders. Promote newer forms of environment-friendly coastal aquaculture, such as cage culture and seaweed culture. Cage culture is a form of aquaculture where cages are prepared in the water bodies and more dedicated approach and care can be taken for the aquatic animals. Mapping and zonation of aquaculture areas, quality assurance and safe aquaculture products. It will encourage the establishment of facilities in areas having direct access to seawater. That will be much better. To produce genetically improved and disease-free brood stocks so that India can export more of such and also get foreign direct investment and remuneration in return. Preventing the use of antibiotics and pharmacological active substances so that the resistance of bacteria do not become imperative. Also, it removes the ambiguity in the Principal Act between farm and other verticals of coastal aquaculture. Many of the administrative matters which were ambiguous, they have been suitably resolved. Registration granted under the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act shall prevail and the valid permission will be done under the CRZ notification. As in, whatever grant of permission is there, it will be according to CRZ notification only. Now, next is the Pharmacy Amendment Bill of 2023, which wants to ensure that youth which are interested in pharmacy, in opening pharmacy businesses, they do so in the, if they're interested to do so in the Jammu Kashmir area, they can do so. So any person whose name has been entered in the registers of pharmacists maintained under the Jammu and Kashmir Pharmacy Act of 2011, or if they possess qualification, it shall be deemed to have been entered in the register of pharmacists. Okay, and it is there to increase job opportunities for the youth of Jammu and Kashmir. It will do away with the issues which concern the status of person registered or qualified under the Jammu and Kashmir Pharmacy Act. Now, under the current dispensation, registration under the Pharmacy Act is mandatory for persons practicing pharmacy in the country. Alright. Next is the Central Goods and Services Tax of 2023 and the IGST Bill of 2023. It inserts, the first one inserts a provision in the Schedule 3rd of the Act of CGST in 2017. It provides clarity on the taxation of supplies in casino, horse racing as well as online gaming, which was in the news recently. The second one, the IGST Act, relates to inserting a provision to impose GST liability on online gaming, money gaming, provided by offshore entities who are living not in India but abroad. Such entities would be required to get GST registration in India. It will block the, it also has the provision to block the access of online gaming platform which are located overseas and they have not registered in India. The council has approved a levy of 28%, this is important, 28% of GST on full face value of entity level bets in online gaming, casinos and horse racing. Remember this. Moving on. The Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Bill 2023, I covered this in detail. This is just a revision, so it will be shortened. But let's see what it has done. It has done away with the contentious section 3A of the ordinance, which said that the Delhi Legislative Assembly will not have control over these services, which is under the entry 41 of the list, second of the schedule of the Constitution, 7th schedule of the Constitution. This was a bone of contention between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Lieutenant Governor. Although it has done away with this section, there are many provisions which show that the Lieutenant Governor will have much more control than the CM of Delhi, such as State Public Services and State Public Service Commission. It was related to this only. National Capital Civil Services Authority has been established. The CM will be the chairperson. The Principal Home Secretary of Delhi will be the member secretary. Chief Secretary of Delhi will be a member. The thing is that the quorum for this meeting, if this authority has to meet, the quorum is just 2 persons. If the CM is absent, then these two can also have a meeting, and these two will be appointed by the center. Okay, that means the center is trying to one up the state government. And the thing is that majority vote also takes place here. If any decision has to be reached at, these two can outvote the CM. If any decision needs the say of 2 people out of 3, if these two say yes, then Chief Minister will be outvoted. Also, the department secretaries for certain matters can take those matters directly to the Lieutenant Governor. The Chief Minister can be surpassed by that. So the thing is that through this, the basic fundamental values of the Constitution have been damaged. Then, quorum for the meeting of NCC SA, it shall be of 2 members. I have already told you that, and this as well. Moving on. In certain cases, the Secretary to the Council of Chief Minister is of opinion that the proposal considered and decided by the Council is not in accordance with the provisions of the law. It shall be duty of the Secretary to the Council of Ministers to bring it to the notice of the Lieutenant Governor. So the problem is that when the Chief Minister, who is the head of the elected party, is not taken into consideration, it is a problem. Power to appoint authorities, boards and commission will be with the President for any law of the Parliament. Again, the Parliament supersedes the State Legislative Assembly, while for laws which are made by the Delhi Legislative Assembly for the time being in force, the NCCSA shall recommend a panel of suitable person for the constitution or appointment or nomination of the Lieutenant Governor. It is either the Lieutenant Governor who is in the picture or the President. You see, the bill also does away with the provision that mandated that the authority to submit an annual report to the centre and the Delhi government. It will be now submitted to the Parliament and the State Legislative Assembly. Then we have the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, through which data fiduciaries as well as the personal data generators like us, we will have certain responsibilities and certain rights. It will protect the privacy of Indian citizens by proposing a penalty of up to rupees 250 crores on entities if they are misusing the data or failing to protect the digital data of the individuals. Companies handling user data will be required to safeguard the individual information, and instances of personal data breach have to be reported to a body which has been established under it. This is the Data Protection Board and the user. Okay, data of children can be processed only after the agreement by the guardians. It lays down the manner in which companies should process user data as well. It gives the government power to seek information from firms and issue direction to block content. So blocking is also a part of it. Block content on the advice of whom? The Data Protection Board, which has been appointed by whom? The Union Government. It allows the user the right to correct their personal data. So right to correct, if you want to correct your data, you can do so. The processing of digital personal data in India is being done, where the personal data is either collected in the online format or in the offline format, but later on it was converted into the online format. Like I manually do something and then if I convert it into digital format, online format, that will be digital data. What is personal data? Any data about an individual who is identified by or in relation to such data. Digital personal data means the similar data which has been stored in a digital format. Okay, moving on. Both the right of the individuals to protect their personal data and the need to process such personal data for lawful purposes and for matters connected thereto are, of course, the thing is that it will be done. Also, the problem is that the right to forget in principle has not been approved. It moots the creation of DPB. I have already told you that. Next is the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill. This wants to ensure that India is researching in the correct direction. More opportunities for research occur. There is no lack of funds. This is what it wants to do. To set up a national agency to fund research across the universities of the state. In the country, sorry, not only the state but in the country. Rupees 50,000 crore fund will be given. Majority of the fund will come from the private companies, private sector. through the corporate social responsibility, a certain amount of your profit has to be sent back to the society. To seed, grow and promote research and development. The problem is that more than 50% of the funding, if by competitive bidding, it could go to the IITs. Other universities, they were having a lack of proper funds if they want to conduct research. That is why this has been brought. It wants to foster a culture of research and innovation throughout India's universities, colleges, research institutions, as well as research and development laboratories. The National Research Foundation will have a 50,000 crore of funding for the period of 5 years. 10,000 will come from the central government, 4,000 from Science and Engineering Research Board, 26,000 crore will be from private sectors, from philanthropists or others. Okay. SERB, it was created by the Act of the Parliament. It will be subsumed in NRF. There are other fundings as well, as in funding institutes under it, such as the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Fund to finance the activities under the specific act, Innovation Fund, which will support outstanding creativity in areas of different areas which are supported by the foundation, Science and Engineering Research Fund to continue the projects and programs initiated under the Science and Engineering Research Board, which will be now subsumed under NRF. So to continue that, so that there is no hiatus, this is still there. Then one or more special purpose funds for any specific project. All right. It will have a big thinking when it comes to policy formation. Governing board will be there, which consists of 15 to 25 members. Prime Minister will be the head of it, and Education Minister plus the Science and Technology Minister, they will be vice presidents. A provision to nominate a member to bring in the private sector is also there, and an executive council will be there under the principal scientific advisor. So remember, governing body will be there and executive council. Governing body headed by the Prime Minister, 2 VPs, Education Minister, Science and Technology Minister, and then executive council by the principal scientific advisor. Multi-state cooperative societies bill. This is basically in order to ensure that cooperative societies are free of any issues when it comes to bureaucracy, when it comes to political clout, when it comes to nepotism. So it seeks to strengthen cooperatives by making their functioning more transparent, introducing a system of, this has to be cut, introducing a system of regular elections so that there is no nepotism, prohibiting the appointment of related persons, similar issue. It was of course touted since the very beginning that things that like this should be done. Establish a cooperative election authority. A cooperative election authority will be created to introduce electoral reforms in cooperative sector. A chairperson, vice chairperson and members not exceeding 3 will be appointed by whom? The central government, because prelims can ask us that it will be done by the state government. No, it will be done by the central government. About 8.6 lakh cooperatives are there in the country, out of which active primary agriculture cooperatives are just 63,000, and in January only the government decided to establish 3 new multi-state cooperative societies to promote organic products, seed and export. So that export is a culture we have to foster in this country. Alright, so these were the important bills. I have covered most of the bills in class 1. These are the remaining bills that had to be covered. So make sure that you watch both the classes to ensure that you know which bills have been already passed together with respect to Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Both these houses together passed 23 bills. So it's important for us to know that. Thank you so much for watching.